Welcome to the REI Hacker Podcast, where we unlock the secrets of real estate success. Join us as we dive into the journeys of top investors, mentors, and industry experts. Learn from their experiences and navigate the highs and lows of the investing world. And now, let's hand it off to our host, Benson Juarez.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm really excited about this edition of the podcast. My friend Bryan Driscoll is with us. He's the co-founder of Motivated Leads, a digital marketing agency. Bryan has been in the digital marketing space for over 15 years. He's also a real estate investor. He's amassed a portfolio of over 21 properties, and he is a really good guest because he is at the intersection of two really important things, which is operating in the real estate investing space, but also understanding the digital marketing aspect of it. And he's taken all of that education and experience and turned it into an agency that helps real estate investors generate motivated seller leads. So Bryan, thank you so much for being with us, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, man. It's good seeing you again.
Yeah, we were just catching up, and we've been able to be at the same place many times in the past, and we were just catching up about what's working, what's not working. Tell me about what's working for your business now, and why are you guys blowing up?
So what's working for our business is just focusing on quality, and then we're also building out a team too. So it's like getting the right people. So we got two things, like the business part of it, and then we got the lead part of it. Starting the business, like getting the right people on the team's helping me out a lot, because if I can find the right people and pull them in, which I normally hire the wrong people, like in the past. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, how to get the right people on that you can actually delegate, that have have similar core values that you have and are also competent. Then you don't have to micromanage, and I can pass things over to them, and then it buys my time back. On the lead side of things, what's helping us blow up is just focusing on quality. Like, everyone can generate leads. It depends on how many leads you need to talk to get a deal. So being an investor, I know who I would want to talk to. So I always keep in the back of my head, what type of sellers do I want to speak with? And that's what we try to push towards. So it helps us out a lot there.
So what's the difference between a quality lead and a not quality lead?
Motivation. I look at it as almost, we're not targeting people that have houses. We're trying to find the people with problems. So if we find someone with a problem, that, in my opinion, is going to be a higher quality lead, because we want to solve their problem. We just happen to make a profit by doing it, versus just finding people that want to sell their house with no motivation. Because
typically motivation, there's going to be some sort of a public record filing, right? Like a foreclosure or maybe a vacancy. A lot of the data can lead that. So what are you doing differently than what someone could do if they were just stacking lists?
Sure. So there's different types of marketing. And first thing is, I think all marketing works. So we just happen to be doing digital, but like mailers, texting, everything, if you do it consistently, is great. What we do is we're in the inbound marketing. So we're running everything on digital, like Google, Facebook. And what I'm trying to do is, we're not really using lists. We're trying to hit people based on our ad and creative. So say on Facebook, I can put an ad out that says, sell your house fast, and I got a beat up shack behind it in the picture. That's going to have certain people that are going to click that ad. Versus if I just say, sell your house easily, and I have a pretty house, that most likely is going to get me more retail leads. So it's constantly testing landing pages and ads to find out, okay, what content is going to get the right people. Same on Google. Do you want to have your ad show up for someone searching to a keyword, sell my house or sell my house fast?
Right.
$50 click. You don't want to get a whole bunch of people searching sell my house, because most of them are looking for an agent.
So it's a combination of the messaging with the imagery in the ad that will help to generate that, because you can't say words like foreclosure on social media, right? Don't they flag those as like protected language or something like that?
Sometimes, like, we can. I've found it's more hitting their hot points. Like, anyone who wants to sell their house fast has some sort of problem, or else they wouldn't, like, they just list it on it. They just hit up their agent and toss it on the market. So it's like people looking for cash home buyers. Anytime you say we buy houses, buying houses as is, no repairs needed, things like that, those buzzwords are what attract who we're looking for. Because we're looking for people like hoarder houses and like houses that are dilapidated and just distressed.
So if you're doing digital marketing, that means you're on social media. Have you found that there's places where people who are in distressed situations are hanging out online?
Now, you know what? I think they're hanging everywhere. But the thing is, like, everyone say they're on Facebook. And here's the thing, someone might be distressed now, but they're not distressed in 6 months. Like, for example, someone just inherits a property that's a piece of crap from their father that hasn't updated in 30 years. And they're living paycheck to paycheck. So they just got this property, needs work. They don't have any extra money. Now they have to pay taxes, insurance, and utilities. That person just became distressed, but technically they're not like a distressed person. Their life's in order. They just now have a problem. Once they solve the problem, they're no longer in distress again. So there's all different scenarios on that. And then there's the people just pre-foreclosure, which, like you're saying, you can just pull a list on.
So the challenge I see is making sure that ad shows up on in their feed or wherever they're looking at the time when they are feeling distressed and want to click it. So is there any strategies to help to ensure that happens? Or is it just a shotgun, like hoping that someone's distressed? What would make your ad show up in front of somebody who's actually distressed?
Yeah, so here's how it works. So say, for example, someone Googles, I need to sell my house fast, right? They go onto a website. It might not even be my website, but if there's a Facebook pixel on that website, Facebook now knows that person is looking to sell their house fast. So what happens is Facebook starts feeding them for the next, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is. It's like same thing when you're looking at shoes. So what we want to do is we want to be there when they're distressed. And we also do the shotgun approach because we have to get them in also. But ideally, it's the algorithm in Facebook and Google that kind of pushes it towards people that they think are going to be more likely to fill out forms based on their behavior. It's creepy. You're in a data space. You know how it works.
But it is interesting that someone else's ad and someone else's Facebook pixel could generate a lead for you just because of how the algorithm in Facebook works or other social media platforms.
Yep. Yeah, because what's going to happen if that person is going to see our ad, probably 5 other people, because Facebook's not just going to push one brand, they're going to push them out. So if you go onto a motivated seller website, like a Sell My House Fast website, you'll see in your Facebook feed, you're going to start seeing investors for the next week with their ads saying, hey, we'll buy your house. It's going to be a variety of them.
Got it. So they don't even have to opt in anywhere to get those. But is that one of the next kind of layers is, okay, get this free resource, right? So they give you their email, they give you their phone number. Is that part of the funnel that you guys generate?
Usually I don't go that approach. We just go for the lead. We've tried it before, but it's if someone's motivated, they're making a decision within a week. So I don't want to delay the process. Hey, you know what? If we're investors, we're not paying top dollar, but we can give you a cash offer. If you're interested, fill out the form. We're going to come meet you and buy your house.
So you're basically just getting their info to schedule an appointment.
Yeah, basically, because a normal funnel, you're right. You want to give the information, grab them, hook them, and then hit them through email and all that kind of stuff. This, like I'm saying though, is like 9 out of 10 leads are not motivated. Like they want to sell, but they're not like the uber motivated people. But that one person doesn't want the manual. They want you just to buy their house. And if we do that, the next investor is going to hit them up on the phone, and then they get the deal. And by the time we get back to them, the deal would be their house is closed.
Is there any strategy where you could upload, say, like a list of emails to Facebook? Like maybe you pulled a list of foreclosures, you skip traced it, now you got emails, putting them into Facebook to create a group and then marketing to them that way?
You still can. So what Facebook has now, they call it the special interest category. So if you're going to run ads in there, say you're selling shoes, you can target people by age, sex, interest, zip code, whatever you want. In the real estate space, and also with credit and a couple other categories, it's now called the special interest category, which pulls a lot of that targeting away due to discrimination. So now you can't target by age. You can't target by sex. You have to target broad. So the reason I'm bringing that up is you can upload a list, but normally if you were an e-commerce selling shoes, you'd upload the list and Facebook would tell you uploaded 10,000 people, we matched 9,000. And then, okay, good, we got a 9,000 piece list. In the real estate space, you can upload that list of 10,000 people, but they don't tell you how many matched. So you're spending money and you could maybe match 100 people out of it. You don't know. So we've tested it and I found it's less profitable. Like it didn't work well for us, but you can do it. So I recommend anyone thinking about it, test it out, but we've tested extensively and have not had success.
Yeah, test it with a small group so you're not paying an exorbitant amount of money just to see that it doesn't work. It's interesting that are they just trying to deter you from doing it so they don't give you those numbers? Why not just say you can't target these people with this kind of ad? That seems like a more logical approach than just letting the marketer make the decision.
I don't even think it's Facebook trying to do it either. Remember when Zuckerberg was in front of Congress like a couple years back? That's
which time?
Yeah, like when they were hammering him. It was like a couple years ago. But when they were getting in trouble for all the privacy, I think that's when this came into place. Because it's Facebook saying, hey, you know what? We're not allowed to show you this stuff. And here's the thing. Facebook's algorithm's so smart, I don't even think you need to. Because Facebook, they know who is looking to sell their property anyways. They know exactly what you're doing. They're using all these different data points. Like they know what you're going to buy in the next week because they're going to show you ads to get you back into it. So they know all your browsing behavior.
Right. Interesting. So you're doing a lot of stuff on Facebook. Any other platforms that you're seeing that you can have some success on when it comes to showing motivated sellers ads?
Yeah. So we got Facebook. Google's working real well. YouTube, TikTok. Basically, all the digital platforms work. You just have to have different content for them.
Right. Yeah. You just format it differently. And
Yep.
do you do more imagery, like static imagery, photos on Instagram versus what you would put on TikTok?
Yeah. TikTok's all video, and TikTok, the video format needs to be different, and the actual video needs to be different. It's more, I don't even know what you call the style. It's like a TikTok style, like where they say something that it keeps clipping different things. You know what I'm talking about?
You mean like we doing clipping?
Like the style of video on TikTok doesn't work as well on Facebook, just because TikTok videos are short, and the format and the way they record the videos is a different style, you could say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure.
And a Facebook video won't work on
side.
TikTok, nor if you just record a regular video like we're talking right now. Hey, I'm Bryan. I buy houses in Pittsburgh, and I put that in TikTok. It's probably not going to work.
I've seen those on TikTok before. Somehow I'm getting stuff into my feed because I'm following influencers. I'm following investors that are showing their deals. I follow a lot of other stuff too. But yeah, I'm on a bunch of people's lists, I think.
Yeah.
So you're also an investor, and you started investing many years back. Tell me about that journey. Like, how did you go from deciding to invest in real estate to where you're at today?
Yes. So investing in real estate, Ron LeGrand, right?
Yeah.
From family. So Ron LeGrand's the guy that got me into real estate back in 1998. He was traveling the country doing those like seminars where they get you in the back of the room.
Yep.
So I got into it. I was like, my dad took me. I was like, just got into high school, or just got out of high school. And he takes me there. I pull out my credit card at the back of the room, all pumped up, give him $1,800, which is a ton of money for me, right? So I go out and I fail. Like, it didn't work. Like, his course worked. I was sticking ads in the newspaper. People are calling me. I just was green. I didn't know what to do. So I just got a job. And then I got into digital marketing in 2000, started doing SEO on Upwork, and just started freelance. So that started growing, and I used that as my side hustle money. That's like my savings money to invest in things. So then about, I don't know, probably 10 years, probably even longer than 10 years ago now, I got my first rental property. I found a deal on Craigslist, and the guy he wanted 33 grand. So I had cash sitting around. I gave him the money and fixed it up, made a whole bunch of mistakes. And that's how I got into investing. But I saw a wholesale fee. I'll bet you I can generate my own leads. So then I started trying to generate my own leads using the marketing. And that's how everything like married together.
So you realize that you're paying a fee to somebody else, whatever that amount was, $5,000 or something like that. And then you're like, oh, I'll just keep that money in my own pocket, generate my own leads,
Right.
Get a better ROI. And then you can cherry pick those leads too, right? Because you don't have to do them all. Like, you can only do so much with the amount of resources that we typically have. Did you wholesale some of those out?
Now, so you know what I did? Initially, I started marketing. I only buy in one zip code just because I don't want to drive far and I'm busy. So originally when I started it, I was generating leads in our city. And I went onto Facebook groups. There's a group called the Pittsburgh Real Estate Investors Group. And I just put a post up there. I'm like, hey guys, I got leads. Who wants a JV? Is there anyone reputable that does deals? I'm going to send you leads and let's split it. So that's originally how I got started. I was generating them, cherry picking the leads in my zip code and sending all the other leads out, which turned out to be 99% of the leads. Like, I got in one zip code, it's low numbers you're going to get from there. But what that did was, and a JV model failed. Like, it didn't work well for me.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird. I probably didn't do it right. I think people value leads that are free differently than the ones they have to pay for, like through their marketing. So I just don't think they get the same amount of attention. It worked. I mean, I made a little bit of money, but it wasn't like a business model. And so, yeah, let's do more of this. But what that did is it showed me, okay, I can generate leads, JV with these other guys. I get my money back for marketing and I'm making a little bit of money, but any deal I get in my area, I get for free. So it did help in that side. But then I started looking at it, I'm like, this is silly though. Why am I sending these guys all these leads they're not really paying attention to really well? Let me just go sell the lead to someone on an a la carte basis. It's going to be way more lucrative. And that's why we now do like a pay-per lead model.
Love it. So you proved the model though, but you had to go do it and to test it out to figure out what worked and what didn't work for you guys, because it might have worked for somebody else, but it just didn't work for the way that you guys were applying it.
Yeah.
What are you finding now when investors are looking to use your service and they're looking to pay per lead? Like, what are they looking for typically? What qualifies for them as like a good lead?
So what qualifies as a good lead is somebody motivated that wants to sell their house. So in the online space, here's what you should expect. Out of 10 leads, like 6 of them are no good. Like, they want too much money, just aren't a fit, right? 4 out of 10 want to sell. And normally investors are going to lock down one of those 10. So even if it's pay-per lead or doing Google, Facebook, like any digital inbound marketing, that's just what I found. Like 6 of them, you just have to know. 6 out of 10, that's your cost of doing business. You just got to eat it because you're looking for that one that's going to make you all your return. You know what I mean?
What are you finding is the best approach, talking to your partners once they get that lead? What's working to get that lead and get a contract? Is it phone calls, emails, knocking on doors, combination?
It's a good question. The thing that works, number one, speed. You got to call these people within 2 minutes. Number two, especially like at the end of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, things like that, you have to have good processes set up to get a hold of them. For example, if a lead comes in at 3 in the morning, that person is scrolling, they're laying in bed, and you're not going to call them because you're sleeping. But what I found is send a text message to them, automated. Hey, Benson, thanks for filling out a form on our site about selling your house at 123 Main Street. Here's a link to a Calendly link to book an appointment for us to come give you an offer. The reason I like doing that is the person filling out the form in the middle of the night, most likely they're going through Google and they're going to fill out the first, second, and third website. Like they're just going down the list and filling them out until they find what they're looking for. If you stop them and have them book an appointment, it pulls them away from what they're doing and allows them to feel like they accomplished what they were looking for. So they booked an appointment. What that does for you is no longer the competitor didn't get them. They didn't fill out your competitor's form. So you remove some of the competition.
Right.
But the main thing I see with online leads, though, is just speed. Call them fast because the motivated people want to sell now. The medium motivated people, you may have to follow up with them for like a week or two. But the people that want to sell yesterday are going to answer the phone. And the first person they talk to that they like is usually locking down the deal. So if you call them in a minute and you meet them same day, and I don't call them till tomorrow, most likely they're not answering the phone if you already locked it up under contract.
So in that case, then does it make sense to have people who can call 24 hours a day, like a calling service, who if they do fill out a form at 3 a.m., they're getting a call at 3:10?
You would think, I don't even think it's legal to call that late. So that's we just do the text. Yeah, just because like someone sitting on the toilet filling out a form, sometimes they don't want the phone call, but the text message works. Right. And the funny thing is we send a text all day long anyways too. So we send a text and call. It's just on the off hours when we're not, because I don't think it's legal to call from like 11 till 8 or something. I don't know what it is. It's like overnight hours.
Interesting. Yeah, there's so many cool things that you can do. I was just out, I met some people at Investor Fuel, and they were doing a really cool approach for people who were in distressed situations, typically foreclosures, where they would send information to them. They had a website they could drive them to, but their main approach was like helping them get out of a bad situation. If they ended up with a house, great, but if they could stop the foreclosure or get an extension or do a short sale or a loan modification, like they would do those too. And I thought that was a cool approach because they're like helping first, and then the second win could be potentially getting the home. So I went out and spent 3 weeks with them out in Kansas City. I just drove out there and went and knocked on some doors and just learned their process. It was a really cool experience.
Nice. Yeah. And you know what? That's funny you say that. The most successful investors I find are trying to help people.
Yeah.
It's just like you're trying to help people and you just happen to make money by doing it because a lot of them, you're just buying their house. That's the solution. Some people selling their house is not in their best interest. It's like they could do a loan modification or something else. So
yeah. So I took that model. So I'm going to implement it here in Colorado. And I learned a bunch just being with them and learning their processes. I taught them some stuff too about Privy and how they can do more leads through what we do with the software. And so it ended up being like a win, which was great. I didn't feel so much like I was a burden because they were so welcoming. They're like, yeah, just come out, hang out with us. I was like part of the team for 3 weeks, out in the cars, lunches, dinners. It was really a cool experience. They could have charged for that. And I think people would pay for that too. Like they could have seriously, it would have been worth 10 grand easily to be with a team for 3 weeks and just learn their whole system. But that was they were part of the Investor Fuel Mastermind, and it was just like a collaborative environment. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's real cool.
So you are doing a lot of things, right? You've got this digital marketing company that you've co-founded and you're doing real estate deals, but you're a family man at the end of the day. How do you balance all of this stuff that you want to achieve financially and still be like a good husband and a good father?
That's a good question. So I do it carefully. We'll say that, right?
Yeah.
So originally when I started in business, I had to work a ton. So I'm smart sometimes, but a lot of it's just due to stupidity. I just keep pushing and pushing till I get through the wall. So like originally when I started digital marketing, I was working like especially when my first kid was coming, I'm like, crap, I got to make money. So I was working from 5 a.m. till 9 a.m. I had a day job from 9 to 5. I'd come home, eat, and I'd be working from 7 to 9 again. Like long hours, horrible hours, you know what I mean? But I had to do what I had to do. Like I got a kid coming, I don't know what to expect. I got to make money. Now I'm to the point here, it's okay, I got to focus on what's really important. And it's easy to say now because I'm financially fine. You know what I mean? It's easy to say that when you got the cash versus when you don't. But now it's more I'm looking at, okay, I got to spend time with my kids. I have to budget my time. So now I still wake up early. It's a habit now. I wake up at like 4 a.m. And I do doing that because I'll get work done from 4 to 7 till everyone wakes up, like 4 to 6 or something, and no one bothers me. So I get a ton of work done in the morning. And then when the kids wake up, I hang out, get them some breakfast, all that kind of stuff, and hang out. And then they're off to school. I work all day. And then what I try to do is at 5 o'clock, shut everything off. Like I took Slack off my phone because Slack was a big problem because people would be pinging me all the time. So it's like being cognizant of that kind of stuff, like turning those things off and unplugging. And then also just in my brain at nighttime, just trying to be focused on a family versus, because as business owners, you're constantly thinking of business. Like it's consumed.
There's a time in my life, and I'm getting better at it, where my computer was just always open, right? It's always open. It's on the kitchen table, right? It was always like, it was like one step away from responding to an email or a Slack message or just seeing if I missed something. It's almost always in the back of your head, you're feeling like you're not doing enough.
Yeah, and it's tough. And one thing I saw a TED Talk. I think her name's Shonda Rhimes. Whoever, she writes those TV shows. There was that Scandal. She was the author of the writer of Scandal. But she had something that was totally off topic. It was on with her and her daughter. And she said she made a promise to always say yes. And what that means is, it's like, hey, when your kid asks you to do something, like I'd always be working. My kid, hey, you want to play Fortnite? Or you want to do Mario Kart or whatever? I'm like, yeah, I'm busy right now. It's like, if you can, always say yes if time permits, because you're never getting those time back. So I noticed, like, I'm in the middle, I'm zoning into work. My son's, hey, you want to play Fortnite before school? I'm like, no, I'm in the middle of something. And I think about it, I'm like, okay, I go do it. And it's okay, just pulling away from those 20 minutes to focus and spend time there. I think that's important. At least for me, it helps because I get laser focused, and it's like hard to pull away, but it's like being cognizant of that.
Yeah, for me, it's been a lot of prioritization of time. Like, okay, I'm going to bust my ass for this many years and then get to a point financially where I feel comfortable doing all the other things I wanted to do. But for a lot of people, that time never comes. So they're always like, oh, it's someday I'll go take that vacation, or someday I'll spend the time with the family. And for most people, that doesn't happen. And that's why a lot of entrepreneurs, I think, have very either failing relationships or relationships that couldn't be as good as they could be, because that day never comes.
And it's funny too how you think about stuff, because talk about failing relationships. I think like a business owner. Do you ever do predictive?
No, I haven't done PI, but I've done other tests.
Okay. So the reason I bring it up, I'm classified as a captain in predictive index. I'm a black and white thinker, right? It's like it is or it isn't. I'm a process oriented person. And then talking with my wife, she's not like that at all. So it's like just the way I think and just the way I'm built flicks with her personality, because she's like not that. So it's like also being cognizant, because we had a problem. She's like, you're not an emotionally sensitive person. And it's like,
how the heck did you guys even get married?
Yeah. I'm like, I don't even know what that means,
right?
Let alone how to fix it. But it's like taking a step back there too, because you have business is one thing. I understand that really well. You put me in the real world with like her or even my kids and things. You got to think differently and take a step back, because it's not all black and white, or it's not all, hey, do this or here's your outcome. It's like people got feelings too, and a lot of people aren't as direct as me. So those are some of the things I struggle with too, because I always got to think, okay, what are you talking about, and explain it to me or explain myself, and then it helps in our relationships a little bit.
You're just taking off the work hat for a little bit and putting on the emotionally sensitive hat.
If we can call it that.
It's like the emotionally sensitive cyborg, right? AI, they have internal AI that tells them they should be empathetic, but they can't be because they're a darn robot.
Exactly. Yeah, and it is like that too, because it's like I'll be talking to her about something. It would be like, say, about the kids or whatever. I'm like, just have them do this. What are you talking about? And women don't work that way. At least my wife doesn't work at it. She don't want fix. She don't want anything. It's you just got to be sensitive and just be present, basically.
Yeah, just being around. That's a key thing. Just being present, putting the phone away, sitting next to somebody is a world of difference. Even if you're on your phone, that's different than if you weren't sitting next to them, watching TV or whatever. So
dinner time's huge. Having dinner at a table, I think, is a big part. Like we have dinner at a table every single night, no matter what. And I think that's something, because a lot of people don't. And that allows like eye-to-eye conversation, communication, and you're sitting there with no phone. That's a big thing too.
Absolutely. What have you noticed that's come out of that? Just sitting there, obviously you feel like you're a family, but anything else that you realize, like the conversations were getting better, you learned stuff about your kids and what they're into? What are some examples of how well that worked for you?
I think it works really well because number one, I'm hearing about their day, things that they care about, and basically just communicating. You know what I mean? Like you're hearing, okay, hey, how was your day? What's the best thing that happened? They tell you, like, and then you can start talking about that. They're like, what do you mean? And then you start hearing things and they can actually speak with you versus as a parent, it's easy to correct and tell them what to do all the time, but you can actually have a conversation. Same with my wife. She can tell me about her day, the stuff she doesn't like, the stuff she does like. And then I understand more about, okay, wait a minute, you had a pretty shitty day today. Maybe I can take a load off for you tonight or something, do some dishes or whatever. You know what I mean? Because you just get an indication. It's good communication too, because it's like giving a crap.
Yeah, and you have to give a crap too, right? That's the other piece of it. Is you could sit down at the kitchen table and be like, "Oh my God, I don't want to be here." And that's how sometimes you see like young people feel too when they have to sit at the kitchen table with their families, and they're like, "Can I go watch TV?" And they want to get out of there. So, have you built stronger relationships with your children because of that?
I have, yeah. One other thing, building a relationship with my kid, my oldest, and he told me at the beginning of this year, I really hate taking a school bus. So I'm like, okay. And I decided I'm going to start riding him to school. I'm like, whatever. There's some jerks on the bus or whatever. I'm like, I like riding to school. I'm going to take you to school. And I just thought I was like doing him a solid. But even the conversations we have on the way to and from school was awesome. I never thought that it was going to be like that. I thought I was just like doing him a solid. But you have conversations just one-on-one, and the car rides, you have really good conversations. There's nothing else to do.
That was a cool thing that you did. But you also do other family things like vacations, right? You went to Disney World recently.
Yeah. I like going on trips because that also is a way for me to unplug.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I work a lot and it's hard to shut your, like when I go on a trip, the first 3 days, I'm still spinning. And it's like day 4 is when I calm down and then I can enjoy the rest of the trip. And I'm like in the mode now, just like nothing else matters. And it takes like probably 3 days for me to have my brain quit like running a mile a minute. And it's cool too, because like we get to go do things. So I look at, I don't live over extravagant. Like I got like normal house. I don't spend like a lot of money on cars, but I look at vacations as an experience. I'm like, that's where I want to spend my money. If I can go spend money here, create experiences with the family, and I think it's like great money spent.
Oh yeah. Those experiences turn into memories.
Exactly.
When your kids look back 20 years from now about their childhood, that's going to be the foundation of it, is having family dinners and going on these experiential trips and the emotions that come out of it, right? That's what creates the memories, is like being happy or mad or angry or sad in certain situations. So the best that you can do is create happy situations that create those connections in your brain with those memories. That's awesome. One of the things that you mentioned in a previous podcast was how you've reprioritized your health and getting healthier with having to do all of the work and the family time. Tell me about that journey.
Yeah. So speaking of Disney, I had a picture taken in Disney World and I was fat. I'm looking and I'm like, geez, man, that's me. So I'm like, okay, I got to do something. So what I did was I went out. One of my buddies in Pittsburgh, his name's Ryan. He has a title company. I saw he lost a bunch of weight. He lost 90 pounds and ended up competing in a bodybuilding contest. So I'm like, hey, Ryan, what'd you do? And what he did was he hired a personal trainer to help him out. So I'm like, okay, give me your number. So I hooked up with her name's Stacy. And she trains bodybuilders and she does like the diet and exercise and everything. I'm like, okay, hey, sign me up. What do I got to do? So what she did was she put me on a meal, like running macros. You got to eat more than 200 grams of protein, less than 150 carbs, and 50 fat. So we were tracking numbers. And I was doing cardio 4 days a week and weights 2 days a week. So, and what I did was I lost like over 50 pounds and I gained muscle, lost fat. So I got into really good shape. But basically what worked for me was I didn't know how to do it. So I had to go find the person. I don't know how to lose this weight. I know I got a problem and I don't want to die when I'm 50 from a heart attack. But I don't know how to do it, but Ryan did it. Hey, dude, how'd you do it? And he pointed me over to Stacy. So I work out with her now and I just show up. I don't need to know what's happening. She just tells me.
And you got a plan, right? So she knew what your goals were. You wanted to lean up and put on some muscle. And so she put you on a plan for meals and then obviously the exercise. For me, I work with a trainer too. A lot of it for me is about accountability, like making sure that you show up at the gym at a certain time and a certain day, and there's no excuses because someone's depending on you.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So
that was a key thing for me.
Do you like working out?
I do. I like it.
I hate going to the gym.
Yeah, I prefer more like the sports side of it. So every time I go to the gym, I always play basketball. So I have a membership at Planet Fitness and I'll go there from time to time, but there's no basketball court. Then I went into the local rec center and it's just a bunch of teenagers hanging out, but they got courts. So I can go there and shoot baskets and run with them. And then I'll go do my weights after that. But that's a good workout for me, is like 30 minutes of just running and sweating with a bunch of teenagers and then going and then doing my weight training after that.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point too, because I ride bikes. I'm in Pittsburgh, so half the year you can't do anything outside.
Yeah.
So in like the summer, yeah, I'm with you. Like I'll ride mountain bike or road bike, stuff like that, like pedal bikes. But just going to the gym, I'm like forcing myself all the time. Like, okay, I know I got to do it, but it sucks. Just go put in the time.
Oh yeah. And the cardio too, like getting on a treadmill and just running or walking or doing hills. It's so boring, even with TVs up or a podcast
Yep.
playing. Like that for me is painful here in my head. Like it hurts.
Yeah.
So what's the next physical goal for you? What's the next milestone? Are you going to go do a bodybuilding contest?
No, none of that kind of stuff. My main goal now is to so I got a problem. When I hit a goal, it's okay, what's next? So I hit a goal, I wanted to get a six pack. So I went from a fat person to having a six pack. It's what am I gonna do now? And also how I was eating and like working out, in my opinion, it's not sustainable, at least for me. I'm not just eating chicken and broccoli all the day. So my goal now is just to sustain and have a lifestyle. And instead of looking at numbers, I'm trying to train myself on, okay, what's healthy and what's not. Because like I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. Like food is my vice. I want to go out and do omakase in a sushi restaurant or like whatever.
Right.
It's like that's my thing. So it's like I got to figure out how to live with this for the rest of my life and try to stay healthy. So that's like my constant battle now is okay, we need to eat for energy, but then sometimes you're eating for entertainment. That's okay. Within reason, you know?
It's just a balance because once you get
Yep.
to a certain place, if you can just maintain, then you're good to go. It's the hard work is like when you're trying to get to that place where you feel good and you look good and you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, yeah, good job. And then it's just, you don't have to go as hard all the time. It's like around like the holidays, right? The holidays just finished up and then it's, oh man, I didn't maintain the best diet over the holidays because I was eating what I wanted and drinking what I wanted. And then we have to play catch up, which
Right.
can be a challenge. And that's one of the hard parts too about traveling. And we were talking about traveling earlier. My workout regimen sucks. My diet sucks during traveling and events. When we go to the family mastermind, everyone's drinking old fashions, going out for expensive dinners, lots of calories, and you don't want to work out in the morning. Yeah. Is that something that you deal with now? Like when you go and travel, how do you maintain like I guess the accountability for yourself to do what you're supposed to do?
Yeah. So when I travel, what I do is I order right when I get there. I
Mm,
order like a dozen or a case of water just for the
okay.
room. I'll order like bananas and peanut butter, like something to snack. So normally, if I'm at a conference or something, like breakfast, I'm having a banana. Lunch, maybe they have a lunch that's healthy, or maybe I'll just grab an apple or something. And then dinner, I'll normally go out. Normally, I'll just steaks or something. All those guys are going to get steakhouses.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do that, and I'm just trying to pound water all the time. So it's not as healthy as I normally would be, but I try to stick with breakfast and lunch, at least keeping it in check. So at dinner, if I got to do something, because you're going out with a bunch of people, you're networking, things like that. You can't just, you're going with the flow.
Yeah. And the good networking and the good bonds that are built aren't in those classrooms. It's out at dinner and it's at the bar. You don't drink, but you're hanging out with these people who are drinking and stuff. And so you got to find a way to fit in and still people still want to hang out.
Yeah, and I'll go to the bars too. I just don't really drink. I don't drink, not because I don't like to drink. I just don't know how to behave when I drink. So I just find it better not to drink.
Yeah, I've gone through portions of that. Like the beginning of this year, I went 45 days, no alcohol, just perfect diet, and it worked really well, but it's really hard to sustain. But that actually reminds me, there was a time period in your life where you were doing a lot of drinking and partying, right? And so how did you get out of that mindset?
Oh yeah, I used to party a lot. So I think it was whenever I had my son it's okay, you got to wise up. 'Cause I'm an all or nothing person. So if I'm eating Oreos, I'm eating the whole freaking box. If I'm drinking, we're staying out till 2:30 in the morning and we're looking for after hours after. So
Right.
and what I found, especially in business too, I don't like drinking because I like drinking and I like how it makes me feel at the time. But I get hangovers for 3, 4 days. And what I'm doing now in business is I got to be crystal clear. And I've never seen, I look back, I've never seen anybody in my life be like, you know what? I am glad I went out drinking last night. That was really good and changed my life. Like I've never heard anyone say it ever. And same thing, like after 10 o'clock at night too, it's like late night, you know what I mean? What do? Nothing good happens after 10.
Yeah, and sometimes you just have to experience it and get out of your system. But you're right, you had that milestone, like when your son was born, like that
Yeah.
was enough for you to be like, okay, I'm using this as a way to change. With that, and without that, maybe you wouldn't have changed. You would have continued to do it because there wasn't any potential consequences except for just being a little foggy the next day or not feeling great.
Yep. Yeah. It just changes the whole picture here.
Yeah,
By the way, I got to jet 3 minutes.
got it.
I actually have to go pick my son up at school.
There you go. So you got your priorities straight. And that's one of the
Yep.
things that I like about you is you've been able to have all these life experiences and figure some stuff out. Obviously, your business is doing well. What would you tell somebody who's getting started right now in business or real estate investing to like really focus on when it comes to lead generation to fuel your real estate investing business?
I would say just get started. So a lot of people I see in business, everyone's a dreamer. And I was like, oh, I got to keep learning. I keep learning. I can't start yet because of whatever. I believe if you're thinking about doing something, go out and start. If you want to get into real estate, go door knock. Go do whatever. Just do something, because you're going to find out what you're doing is wrong and sucks anyways. But then you're going to see, okay, that wasn't the right thing, but it put you on a trajectory. Now you're starting to think or talking to people. You're like, okay, let me try this and let me try this. And it's like a snowball going down the hill. Like, you got to push it first to go.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I see, like everyone I talk to, go, yeah, I want to get into real estate, but it's like, they're never going to do it.
Right.
Just take the plunge and jump in, and it's uncomfortable, but just do it.
Yeah. Great advice, man. I really appreciate you taking the time. We learned a bunch today about you and what's working for you, what's not. Most importantly, for those of you out there that are interested in the digital marketing space, if you want to talk to Bryan and just get some advice or talk to him or somebody on his team, where can they reach you, Bryan?
Yeah, just go to .com, right on our website.
Very cool. Great place to learn about digital marketing and generating leads for your business, and connect with Bryan on. Do you have any social handles or things that you promote?
Yeah, you can just look us up. Just type in Motivated Leads into Facebook, YouTube. It's all the same.
Yeah.
Awesome. We have a podcast called Eat, Sleep, and Invest. You can check that out too.
Very cool. Thanks again for taking the time, man. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Let's stay in contact and have a great day.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, man. Catch you later.
That's a wrap on today's Real Estate Revelations. Thank you for tuning into the REI Hacker Podcast. Remember, every property has a story, and every deal is a lesson. Until next time, keep hacking the real estate world.